Module 6, which speaks about ambiguity, will be our first submission for our Agent Geek Baby video submission. Um, so we'll start by using what the text defines as ambiguity, which is a term or a phrase um, is ambiguous when its meaning is so uncertain in the argument we are examining that we need further clarification before we can judge the adequacy of the reasoning. So we wanted to go ahead and start by answering the primary questions in the module. So first, I would say you ask, why is it important to identify ambiguous words or phrases in an argument? So I believe that it's important because the whole purpose of an argument is to get your point across. You're trying to convey your message to the listener or the reader, and the only way to do that is to be as clear as possible. So if I say, Patrick, I don't like your hat, that statement in itself is ambiguous. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. I'm not making anything clear. So from there, that's usually how arguments turn into altercations. Aside from an ambiguous speech creating altercations, again, it's just completely unclear. Patrick can't really engage with me in any sort of conversation if I tell him, I just don't like your hat. I'm not giving him any reason why. I'm not providing anything that he can gauge from me to understand what it is that I'm talking about.
All right. Primary question number 2 was, how does one locate keywords and phrases in an argument? And what I read, but I'll give you the first step, what it says. And it says the first step is in determining which terms are or phrases are ambiguous to use the stated issue as a clue for possible keywords. For instance, say like they get a question like, is the Miss America contest demeaning to women? And you want to find that your goal on that sentence is to find to clarify on demeaning women. You know, we can make an argument here about not all women find it demeaning because that's something they want to do. They want to model, and that's something, or something of that nature, to where they have to explain further in the reading. So it's important for you to pick up on small little things like that, and in your readings or whatever you're trying to find an ambiguous statement. There's keywords or questions that you have to find in there. There's another step that says the next step is in determining which terms or phrases are ambiguous is to identify what words or phrases seem crucial in determining how well the author's reasons support her conclusion. That is, to identify key terms in reasoning structure.
So as he was saying about, he spoke about key terms. So using the summary of clues for locating key terms, um, I'll just use the same phrase as the Miss America contest demeaning to women. So to me, the key phrase would be demeaning to women. Um, there's not really any crucial words in this because we haven't defined what demeaning would be and to what women like that we're talking to, what kind of women, where did they grow up, what is demeaning to them, how have their experiences shaped what demeaning is to them.
We got to know where the writer's going.
Right. We don't know their audience. We don't know their intent because demeaning to women can mean a lot of things. I find it demeaning for Patrick to be sitting here with the lackadaisical, how he's sitting. But other people will be like, he's just sitting. So the writer pertaining to this statement, I don't see any crucial words that can be identified. Definitely, this is an abstract phrase, But the phrase demeaning to women in itself is completely abstract because, again, as we just said, we don't know who you're talking to. We don't know what you're talking about. We don't know what demeaning means to you. So none of this can be cleared up. Um, reverse role playing to determine how someone might define it. The way that it sounds is that this person, they're probably they're more than likely not a very vain person. They're not worried too much about their appearance to even have a desire to compete based on appearances. Miss America is not only based on that, but that's the one of the biggest parts in it. I've never seen an ugly Miss America, but I would assume that this is a person who finds that objectifying women, even that is ambiguous, but objectifying women to make them parade around on a stage and in bathing suits and things like that. That I can, if that is their way of thinking, then I can understand why they would feel like that is demeaning. But again, that may not be where they were going. They may be talking about making these women buy expensive clothes and parade their talents. That may be what they mean is ambiguous, or just having them all grouped up as a whole. That could be um, what they refer to as being demeaning. So there's not very much. There's too much room for interpretation when it comes to that phrase, and locating the key terms in that was very helpful in realizing how ambiguous this statement is.
Um, One thing also, when you check for ambiguity, you're going to know where terms or phrases are, where they are. Another obstacle, it says right here, one obstacle is that you and the author mean the same thing. Thus, you need to begin your research by avoiding mind reading. You don't want to, assume what the author's saying because the author is trying to change your view. That's the whole thing. And if you're going to start mind reading or trying to figure out where the author's going instead of, you know, reading further along or trying to get on the same page of the same statement, or you look it up and find out what word, say like, for instance, like this American thing, the meaning part of the meaning to women, uh, you have to keep reading in order for you to understand it. And actually, you need to get into. It says right here, get into the habit of asking, "What do you mean by that?" You know, for instance, like the meaning to women, you're gonna ask, "What do you mean by the meaning?" Instead of, "I know what you just mean. I know what you meant," or "I know what you mean." Whatever the case may be, you want to, instead of you assuming, ask a question. Ask, "What do you mean by that?" So that way, in the when you continue reading, you know where they're going.
So then, wanted to move on to the question: what is the relation between ambiguity and loaded language? So, to me, I feel like they pretty much go hand in hand, especially with the way that they're speaking about it in the text. As politicians, that's all they do. Everything that they're speaking about is ambiguous and it's loaded to mean anything. To me, they're trying to pretty much just appeal to the masses. There's so many people, so many experiences, so many backgrounds that they just want to say anything that so that it can be interpreted in any way possible, no matter where you come from or what you have gone through and seen and experienced.
Yeah, it really goes off your emotion on it. They really want to touch your emotion on here instead of going by what the facts are.
Right.
They want to touch something that's gonna either tick you off, or you'd be like, you know what, I agree 100% with that, because they're trying to appeal to your views.
Right. So, for example, Donald Trump, when he ran, um, he spoke very ambiguously about, I'll say, since I am in the military, Patrick's been in the military. Um, the way he spoke about the LGBTQZ, um, that,
I don't know.
that community though, and how supportive he was. He didn't outright say I'm an advocate for that community, or I'm here to do what I can to help the community. It was more so just the mistreatment of, you know, more specifically, I'll say the mistreatment of transgenders is just wrong. He made statements like that, so that he in turn, once he, I'm sorry, let me back up. That statement was so that he could appeal to the entire community as well as specifically transgenders, or to people that know people that are in the community, or um, they're friends with, they have loved ones. That appeals to anyone who could be affected. I wouldn't say affected, but that has some sort of feeling towards the LGBT community. So he used that appeal to, or he used his ambiguous language in his speech to appeal to all of those people, so that in the end he could get what he wanted. And he loaded all of that up. He continued to do it so that it can just, it was interpreted as if he was a full blown supporter. He wanted to do everything he could to to help their rights and how they're seen, and all of those kinds of things. And then um, so that ambiguity, excuse me, for his political platform helped him become elected. And now that wasn't his push, and you can't really say that he ever said, I am an advocate for the LGBT community, or I am an advocate for transgenders, because he never said that. He loaded up everything that he was saying to make it seem as if that were the case, and now he's removing the the opportunity for transgendered people to join the military. So it definitely works to politicians' advantage to fluff it up and fluff up all of their ambiguous statements to appeal to the people that are going to believe them and get them to where they want to be.
And also, I also want to touch on something too, and it really brought up a good point in the reading. You bring up a word, say like welfare. It says right there, you automatically you're assuming. You go to assuming like, oh, these are people that are lazy or don't want to do it. But if it's somebody you like, you call it something else, like a subsidy or or incentive. You know what I'm saying? It's how you use words, to your touch your audience,
Yeah.
touch your audience, and to get them on your side, because you know it was like you know
Like Trump said too,
yeah,
when he kept using law and order. Law and order, that was a very ambiguous term, because to some people, when you say law and order, to some, they're thinking SVU on TV.
Or they could be thinking like, oh, they're going back to the 1950s and 60s, how strict the police were back then, especially towards minorities or black people, and they were how brutal they were, but what they showed you on the news. And that could be, the news does it a lot too. The news does it a lot with
Very
people,
ambiguous.
like with, say, like they call one man in this city, Chicago, they say these thugs over here. And if you go to somewhere in West Virginia, you'll call them, you might call them a criminal, a proper term like a criminal, or uh, by that person's last Mr. or that person's whole name instead of calling him out of his name. It's a whole bunch of, like they said, it's focused on politics, but it's in your news every single day too as well. So, it's on you to come on, to see where, to drop your opinion on it. I think that's what the critical thinking is, dropping your view on it to see where the other person's coming from and see how, if they can change your view.
And this concludes our analysis of the Module 6 on ambiguity.